Hello, everyone. Welcome to day number 1 here in the Unstoppable Service Dog Workshop. I'm your host, Caitlin Bird, and we are here today to get excited and started on some of the training challenges. So the Never Nag Again training challenges was inspired by me observing a lot of service dog owners who mistakenly place their trust in pet dog training, and they try to apply it to service dog training. Well, the thing about pet dog training and service dog training is that they are similar, right? They have behaviors, but pet dog trainers like to put everything on a verbal cue. And things don't just happen naturally as part of the everyday environment. Whereas with service dogs, that's the big pivotal difference, is that your dog needs to be doing things automatically without you having to nag them. Right? So I've seen a lot of service dog trainers telling their dogs to sit, stay, leave it, heel, and focus, right? So we're going to be going over some of these behaviors, which are really pivotal and important for your dog to know automatically. And these are the foundation behaviors that every single service dog should start with. Believe it or not, the basics are not sit down and stay. That is more advanced, and that is actually less important for your dog to know than the auto calmness that we are going to be discussing today. So I start this with my puppies as soon as they come home at 8 weeks of age, and we start auto calm. So I want to show you a lot of video of Reiver when he was a young puppy and when he first came home. And eventually what your dog's going to end up doing is be able to auto calm anywhere, everywhere, in all sorts of environments, which is what we're looking for in a service dog. And one of the first steps, especially at home, once you've started to practice, you should eventually start seeing your dog to calm and settle around food and when you are eating a meal. So I wanted to show you, I'm going to go ahead and blip out of existence here real quick. And we're going to watch a lot of interesting and fun videos. So the video here is Reiver doing his automatic settle. And this is eventually what you'll end up here. Here I'm watching Seinfeld. My puppy's by my side. I'm stepping on his leash as a tether to remind him, hey, this is your cue to chill out. And I'm eating a pork chop for my dinner, or it looks like late lunch. So this is what it'll eventually look like. Okay, now notice as I'm doing this, I'm just doing my everyday thing. I'm not barking cues and commands at my dog. I'm reinforcing him for having his head down on the ground. And I'm not marking the behavior. I'm not using a clicker. I'm not telling him what to do. It's happening all very naturally. And he's not coming up to look up and try to see what I'm eating. And guess what? He's doing this all for his kibble, right? He's a working dog. Working dogs should be eating for their meals. So how do we get started with this, right? So if you flip it back into your workbook, now here's another video. And if you flip back into your workbook, you will see kind of the outline of how to get started with settle. Because whenever we're starting a brand new behavior with our dog, whether it's your pet dog or your service dog, you always start indoors in the lowest distraction environment possible. So that means if you have kids, if you have other pets that roam around the house, everybody needs to be put away. Or you need to go find a room where you can start and practice so that there's low noise distraction, low visual distraction, and you can just focus on doing this with your dog. All right. Now, settle is going to be easiest, is natural auto calm behavior. You need to be practicing this so much that it becomes your dog's default behavior. Now, what does that mean, default behavior? Default behavior means that when your dog is in a brand new situation, they don't know what to do, they are going to default to the behavior that they've been reinforced the most for. And they are going to try to see if that works. That's why you want your dog, this to be one of the first behaviors that you teach your dog. I also teach my puppies touch and to drop items because it's very important to maintain the trust with young puppies. You don't want to be grabbing things out of their mouth. That also teaches chase games. But I also teach touch and drop as one of my first behaviors. But settle is very high up on the list. I reinforce the heck out of that throughout the day. Okay. Now, if you notice, we're on a tie down here. This is a cable tie down. And if you're not familiar what a tie down is, especially for young puppies, it's not a leash, right? Because puppies learn to chew on leashes, and they can enjoy that very much. And we want to redirect with some sort of fluffy toy. Reiver has his snuggle puppy here. He still loves this puppy to this day. And they're exercised before to make sure that they're able to be in that calmer state of mind. Eventually, you're not always going to have to exercise your dog before, because they're going to be so good at the settle behavior. Okay, but that's where you want to start off with. You want to start off setting your dog up for success. Make sure it's a calm environment. Make sure they've had enough exercise, not that they're wound up, but enough that they are calming down, and give them things to redirect to. Give them a stuffed Kong to start off with. So here I am. I think I'm explaining a little bit as we go too.
Dog or any dog, they tend to focus on the basics, right? Sit down, stay, come, loose leash walking. That's actually not what I'm focusing on. The first two behaviors Reiver learned was touch and drop. Those were the first two behaviors I taught him. Of course, his breeder did a great job starting on the loose leash walking, and of course we're continuing that. But for a puppy especially, they get everything in their mouth. And when you need them to come here to you, the last thing you want to do is just grab something out of their mouth. You always want to let them voluntarily drop it from their mouths by themselves. And this is going to save you a whole bunch of mess in the immediate future.
So I was just kind of explaining a little bit more about the drop and touch. Like I said, you want to do drop very early, because a lot of dogs can learn to play chase away games, or they can even become a little bit more resource guardy if you don't teach them drop as a puppy. So that's what I started with. And here we've got kind of a settle station going. Now, when we're first starting settle, right, we're in that quiet environment. We've got our 4-foot tie down. This is a PVC covered metal tie down. It's only 4 feet, right? It's just enough for most dogs to sit, stand, and lay down. We don't want it longer than that unless you have a giant breed, right? Bigger dogs might need a little bit longer of a tie down. But especially puppies and medium-sized breeds, 4 foot is perfectly fine. Okay. And the reason why we don't want it longer is because we don't want the dog to be getting into anything. We don't want to have to keep calling the dog back to us, right? And we want the dog close enough so that we're able to capture a calmer behavior. And again, this has to be done with puppies to make it easier for you, right? You can do this with an adult dog too, but it may take a little bit longer. You may need to wait till a period of the day where they're calmer to start reinforcing, and that's fine. That's really normal. But with puppies, they get up and they play and they sleep, and they get up and they play and they sleep. So that creates a great opportunity for us as trainers to be training with these guys throughout the day, every day, and reinforcing this calm, sleepy, settle behavior, right? Chin on the ground, not thinking about food, not looking up at you, not necessarily paying attention to everywhere in the environment, right? We want this calm state of mind, and we can see more of that by reinforcing it. I'm just using Reiver's kibble, right? I'm not using a crazy bunch of treats and high value rewards, because that can also get our dogs amped up. We want them to stay calm. Okay. Also notice I have chew toys, especially if you have a young puppy. It's really important to keep them occupied if they're not being able to chill out exactly like this, and so that you can redirect if they want to chew on the cable, if they want to chew on the pant leg, if they want to do things that they shouldn't be doing. You can easily redirect them with a toy or a chewy or a Kong. Kongs are fantastic to start this training with as well. So here I am on a stool. Again, I think I'm either playing on my phone, but look at what I'm doing, right? So As I'm delivering this piece of food, do you hear me say anything? Let's rewind this again. I have background. That's his desensitization playlist you're hearing in the background. It's like a mix between fire sirens and dubstep. It's kind of funny, but. And I reach, deliver it to his nose, and as soon as you give it, they should settle down. And then watch, he chews, and then it goes right back down. That is what you're looking for. That is the response that you need to have out of your dog or your puppy. Okay, so let's go over.
So how do you train a calm, quiet settle, you ask? Well, first, you can get some reinforcers. This is a very low value reinforcer for him. It's his daily kibble. I don't want something that's going to pump my dog up and get them super overexcited. And then what I'm going to do throughout the day is I'm going to have my dog nearby, somewhere where I don't have to make a lot of noise. When I started this, I made sure he was right by my leg, and I would use a leash to keep him there. And then when I saw him start to calmly put his head down and close his eyes and get super sleepy, this is all I did. Boop. And that's it. Now, generally, you want to count to at least 30 seconds because that's the time it takes to help adrenaline and excited hormones get out of the system. And do it 100 times a day, 50 to 100, right? And in the next week, if you do this every day.
Yeah, so in the next week, if you do it every day, your dog's going to be doing this automatically, right? The more you're going to be able, and again, this is how I feed my dogs. Really important to note. This is how they get their meal. Okay. If your dog doesn't work for their meal, there's something else that we need to troubleshoot. Okay. Some dogs are overfed without you knowing it. So there's something that we need to troubleshoot. Every dog's a little bit different when it comes to troubleshooting for their kibble and their meals, but this is how a working dog works. Okay. And again, really important. Again, this is in your free workbook. This is now, if you've registered for the workshop, this is now waiting for you in your inbox. But in the back, where the outline is, wait that 30 seconds, right? Really important for you to wait as soon as they start to settle down. Once they actually put their head on the ground and start to chill out, then you count to 30 seconds or 60, right? As you want to build this eventually. Reiver can do it for 5 minutes before and reinforcer now. That's where you want to eventually get to, is to 5 minutes. But start off with 30 seconds. Okay, if they can do that for 30 seconds, offer them a kibble with their head still on the ground. But when you offer them that kibble, you want to be a ninja. Because what happens if you're not a quiet ninja, then your dog hears crinkling bags. Then your dog hears opening food pouches. Then your dog hears kibble on the counter that you're trying to pick up. We don't want your dog picking their head up when you grab stuff. Okay, if you grab something and there's a crinkle and they pick their head up right away, wait and pause again. Wait for them to put their head back down and then reinforce. Once they're back down for 30 seconds, you do have to restart. Okay. So here is a little bit of reiver.
Working on his first Kong.
I like to put up stations all throughout the house for settling. First thing I got to do is identify where I hang out the most. Is it next to my bed? Do I sleep by my bed? Do I chill out on my bed and play with my phone? Okay, got a settle station down off the bed. Do I sit downstairs and watch TV? Okay, we're going to have a settle spot there. Do I sit in the kitchen eating food? Great, let's have a settle spot over there. Now, all the stuff that you need for a settle spot includes, of course, the 4-foot tie down. Metal cabled tie down. Don't use a leash. You're asking for trouble if you're going to use a leash, right? And your dog should not be chewing this. If they're bored, if they're frustrated, give them a Kong stuffed with their kibble, right? Give them something that they can do. Give them a chewy, give them a bully stick, something that you can keep them occupied, and also something comfortable to lay on. A bed is a good example. A bathroom mat is a good example. Even a towel. If your dog doesn't like to play with towels, Reiver loved to play with towels, so I did not use a towel. But start using those things, right? So gather all of your equipment, your tie down, your toys, your chewies, your bully stick, your mat, and don't forget to have your kibble on you so you can reinforce. And sometimes, you know what I also like to do? I like to take Dixie cups. I like to put them with my dog's daily kibble ration in it and put them up right next to the settle spot, the little settle station. And I take the food from the and I make sure it's out of my dog's reach so that we don't create counter surfing, right? We definitely don't want to do that. But you have to make sure it's out of your dog's reach, but easily available for you. So you can quickly pick up your kibble, or anybody else in your household can practice this behavior and just practice your settling next to you. Okay? You can practice distance and distance later, but right now we're just working on duration and calm behavior. Okay? So isn't he cute? I can't even. He is so cute. All right. Oh, and here's a great example of your settle station, right? Now, of course, being a puppy, he likes to play with toys. So I had some exciting toys in here as well. As a general rule of thumb, this is okay to do with puppies. I wouldn't encourage excitable play with adult dogs, but puppies, it's fine. You can get away with that. Okay, so he's actually tethered. He's got his tether on. It's on his harness, and he is tethered to this giant chest. It's really heavy, and he's a small dog. And even to this day, he's like 45 pounds. He still can't pull this chest. I think it's successfully held down 50-pound dogs before. So this is a very heavy chest. Now, if you can't, normally you can also tie this around legs of furniture. If you don't have anything that's heavy, you're going to have to bolt an eye hook into the wall. And when you bolt the eye hook in the wall, you want to also make sure you bolt it to a post in your building. Right? You want it onto a heavy post that holds up your building, because otherwise your dog's going to pop it right out of the wall. Okay? And that's going to take a little engineering. You're going to have to find a post finder to find that post in your wall. You're going to have a drill with bits so you can drill a hole, and then you can screw in the eye hook, right? But again, if you don't have anything in your home that you can anchor this to, you have to do that. All right? That's what you just kind of have to do. All right, so let's watch Reiver play a little. He's got his bed, he's got his toys. I just can't. And of course, I just kind of redirect him back to his bed. I want him to learn that area. Oh,
what are you doing? Oh, Lord. Hello. Hello.
And of course, he has pretty great handler focus too. He's more of a moderately handler focused dog. What I tell people often, especially if they're looking for a puppy, they want a dog that has strong handler focus. Okay. Now you also we'll be talking about this later in the upcoming sessions this week during the 8-day workshop. But in general, you want a dog that has high level of handler focus. That's focused and cares about people. Reiver's moderately handler focused, because the two dogs that I saw there that had high handler focused also screamed when you left. And this is common. This is common with dogs that have high handler focus. They are prone to developing separation anxiety, and they are prone to not being easy to crate train. Okay, so keep that in mind. Make sure you know what you're getting into before you start researching crate training, and really become an expert on those topics before you get a crazy high handler focused dog. Oh, and here we are. We are starting to generalize this into a new environment. So we're actually sitting outside of Starbucks. We have his little carrier here. I miss the days of being able to carry him around in such a small carrier under my arm. But he's got his little mat here. He's got a very high value chewy, because you remember, this is a pup that's primarily fed kibble throughout the day. So this chewy, this is a no hide chewy. I think that lasted him 2-3 weeks as a young puppy. I could not believe, and it was only about this big when it started. I could not believe how long this lasted, but very high value chewy for him. Okay, so we're outside Starbucks and we're getting used to a dog barking outside of Starbucks, which he actually shows a little bit of concern, which you'll see here, and how we handle that. He shows interest. He shows a little worry. He's like, hey, Mom, was that okay? I gain his attention. I reinforce. I guide him back down and redirect him back to his chewy. Okay. So that's all very important to get started on. And I believe that's it. I do have a couple photos here of one of my current clients. Oh,
Do this every.
hold up. Let me pull that photo up. Yeah, so one of my current clients is able, she was so proud of her dog to do this. I knew she would be able to, but she wasn't so confident because she hadn't done it before. But this is Daisy. Now, Daisy is a hound mix. Okay, she is a mobility and psychiatric service dog. Now, Daisy has had extreme issues of being overly excited and not being able to calm down. Here they are in a pizza shop in the mall, and they are practicing their settle. And she was so amazed. The client was so amazed that Daisy was able to do this, that they walked in, they sat down. As soon as they sat down, Daisy plops into a settle because this does not have a verbal cue. This is a default behavior. And your dog will surprise you as you practice this, what your dog will be able to do for you. So I just kind of wanted to give you that little story and let you know, hey, this is how you do it. This is how it makes it look like your dog's, they just knows what to do, because they do. They absolutely do. Okay. So tomorrow we are going to, let me put my video back on. Tomorrow, we are going to be doing some review of auto settle behavior. Now, today, I'm going to be putting in a thread on the Facebook group. So make sure to look for that thread because I want to see your auto settles. All right. I want to see you guys practicing. Actually, we do have some videos from the last workshop that I want to show you guys from our participants there, which is super exciting. So let me pull that up real quick. Here we go. Let me open this up. All right, so this is actually a breeder who was participating in the workshop last few months ago, and this is one of her dogs, right? Doing a fantastic job. She's standing cooking dinner. She was able to do this on day 2, day 3. She's got her little tie down, and her puppy is there with their chin on the ground, starting to relax. A little distracted. You can see the ears perk up and the eyes start going, right? But in general, doing a good job. And look, there's that poof of air. Did you see that? The dog did? Beautiful. And this is how a service dog should act in your house, right? He gets up. He's a little bored. He's like, hey, shouldn't I have a treat by now? But if they do that, just wait. Wait for them to put their head on the ground again. Restart. Count to 30 seconds when they do, because you don't want this look up to become a behavior loop. Okay. And there he goes, back on the ground. Count to 30 seconds after that. Okay. And then give him a treat. And then who else do we have? This is another photo, settling in front of the TV, I believe. We also have Bailey here doing a nice settle by her feet. head down, giving the treat while the head's down. And then eventually the head should pop right back down, right? There we go. That's what we're looking for. Again, count to 30 seconds before you immediately give that treat, because you can put that into a behavior loop of head up, head down, treat, head up, head down, treat, and the dog's going to start popping their head up more. So just be careful about that, okay? All right. That is all that I have for you guys today. I have a couple questions here I want to answer real quick. Yeah, isn't that great? Wow. Auto settle, yes. Could they be tethered to you on a waist leash? I wouldn't use a waist leash because, again, it's got that soft material, and that soft material can definitely be more likely to be chewed on. I like to use tie downs and cable tie downs specifically. Cable tie downs covered in PVC because it's sturdy. Your dog's not going to chew through it, and it's safe. Okay. When you start playing around with other stuff, it can be a little, it can cause issues down the road, right? But if they're really, really good at settle, right, you start practicing on the tie down and whatnot, you know, maybe eventually could you do that? Yeah, I don't see why not. I don't see why not at all. Reiver would be able to do that by now if I wanted to do a waist leash. If you don't have a heavy anchor point to anchor the dog to in your home, I'm assuming that's what you're looking for is an anchor point. Again, you want to put an eye hook and a post in your wall so that it's sturdy and they can't pull it out. Or you can put it on the chair you're sitting on, just you can't leave the chair without bringing your dog with you. Otherwise, they're going to pull the chair along, right? So there are a little bit. I have that problem when I put leash, the biting part. Yeah, you will run into that issue. So a lot of redirection, get a Kong, something with food to redirect them with, and you're going to be on your way to not having a dog that chews on a leash or the tie down. I got a question here too. I have a rescue pit bull named Roscoe. He's too superhuman friendly, but dog anxious, non-aggressive, very silly, hyper. I want to hire you to train him and teach me to train him. I'm in Green Acres in Briningsville. Oh my gosh, we're like practically neighbors. I would love to, I don't know who this is. I'm not seeing your name over here on StreamYard, but I'll go pop on and see who you are, and we'll have a little chat. But absolutely. So this is all the start. This is all the start of training with the Unstoppable Service Dog. Okay, so that's my online coaching program. That's how I coach you guys. And if you have any questions about how I train my clients, or if you're interested in becoming one of mine, I would love to invite you and accept you into the family. All right. Thank you guys so much. Tomorrow we're going to review, get those cameras out, start recording, start practicing so we can cheer you on here in the group. Okay, again, look for that thread in the group. And we will see you in there, all right? And then tomorrow we're going to talk a little bit more about generalizing those behaviors, all right? Bye, guys. I will see you tomorrow.